During the pandemic, when Austin, Texas became the more affordable, less pretentious alternative to places like Los Angeles and New York City, no one could have predicted that within 3 years, the city would achieve a darker distinction, pricing out its own residents faster than the coastal metropolises it was meant to replace. The irony is mathematical and merciless. The city that invented South by Southwest and launched Willie Nelson now prices out artists faster than it can import software engineers. The result is a city conducting its own cultural lobotomy with surgical precision. Today we decode how the city that promised to keep it weird became the most efficient machine for cultural displacement in America, one California equity payout at a time. Breakfast tacos have become a $30 luxury in the city that invented them. Musicians sleep in vans parked behind the venues where they perform. Teachers commute 2 hours from Bastrop to reach classrooms, and nurses work triple shifts to afford studio apartments. This is Austin in 2025, where the live music capital of the world has priced out its musicians. The arithmetic tells a merciless story. A one-bedroom apartment demands $1,598 monthly, while the city's median household income sits at $91,430, down 1.17% from the previous year. The traditional affordability benchmark suggests spending no more than 30% of gross income on housing, yet the typical Austin renter now needs to earn $68,840 annually just to afford the city's median rent. For musicians, artists, and service workers who once formed Austin's cultural backbone, these numbers spell extinction. The extraction economy has perfected itself here, transforming every coffee shop into a co-working space and every dive bar into a cocktail lounge. Authenticity has become a product marketed to tech workers, while those who created it pack their belongings. The displacement statistics paint a brutal picture. The 2020 pandemic accelerated trends already underway, with 1/3 of local creative jobs vanishing as venues shuttered and festivals cancelled. The Greater Austin Music Census of 2022 revealed that 38% of surveyed musicians struggle to afford housing, while roughly 1/3 plan to leave within 3 years. The crucial 25 to 39 age cohort of musicians dropped from half of all respondents in 2014 to just 38%, while older age groups showed modest increases. Since 2020, the live music capital has witnessed an unprecedented closure of venues that once defined its character. Barracuda on Red River shuttered in 2020, citing high rents and pandemic impacts. Scratch House, the hip-hop haven, closed the same year with owners lamenting that high rents and COVID are displacing so many venues. The Parlor faced a $60,000 down payment on a $3 million building after 20 years in North Austin and closed instead. The Lost Well closed in 2024 when its landlord refused lease renewal. Giddy Ups, dubbed the biggest little stage in South Austin, was forced out by what owners called gentrification and an unsatisfiable act of greed. Beyond music venues, Austin has hemorrhaged cultural institutions spanning decades. Stars Cafe, a 58-year fixture, was displaced by the I-35 highway expansion. Baby Acapulco's anchor location on Barton Springs Road, serving purple margaritas since 1981, closed in October 2024. Asta's Ethiopian, providing buffet-style meals for over 3 decades, quietly disappeared in 2025. Even Zitejas, the Austin-founded southwestern chain, saw its final location close after 36 years. The city now boasts the 5th highest apartment vacancy rate nationally at 10.01%, driven by a construction boom that delivered approximately 32,000 rental units in 2024 alone. This surge in available units pushed down asking rents by 4.6% in the last quarter of 2024. Yet this apparent relief conceals structural problems. The oversupply primarily benefits higher-income renters, while naturally occurring affordable rentals priced between $625 and $635 per month, $875, plummeted from 38% of rental stock in 2012 to just 14% in 2017. The transformation began long before tech giants discovered Austin's charms, rooted in decisions that would reshape a college town into Silicon Hills. Austin began as a government town where the Capitol Dome dominated the skyline and state employees set the economic rhythm. The University of Texas anchored the other end of town, forming a balanced ecosystem of professors, bureaucrats, and a growing creative class where musicians often played for beer money and community goodwill. In 1970, Austin counted 253,539 residents, a city with a small-town sensibility and predictable patterns of life. Its neighborhoods were distinct, its growth steady but not spectacular, and the city's demographic and social structure evolved alongside its economy. Once defined by government and academia, Austin reoriented itself toward innovation and entrepreneurship. The change began in 1983, when a 19-year-old University of Texas student named Michael Dell started assembling and selling computers from his dorm room. His company, later known as Dell Technologies, became one of the world's largest computer manufacturers and gave rise to what locals began calling Silicon Hills. That success reshaped Austin's identity. It demonstrated that the city could foster global technology firms while maintaining its laid-back character. Throughout the 1990s and 2000s, the region became a magnet for startups and corporate relocations, drawn by the low cost of living, business-friendly tax structure, and access to skilled graduates from the University of Texas. The trickle became a flood after 2010. IBM had already planted roots in 1967, but newer arrivals transformed the region into a diversified tech hub. Tesla announced its Gigafactory in July 2020, promising 5,000 jobs and receiving $46.4 million in tax incentives. Oracle relocated its headquarters from California in December 2020, followed by Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Apple expanded its Austin campus to accommodate 15,000 employees, making it the company's largest outside Cupertino. Samsung committed $17 billion to a semiconductor facility in nearby Taylor, securing $650 million in property tax rebates. Each corporate announcement triggered immediate housing market convulsions. Policy decisions actively courted this transformation through calculated incentives. Texas offered zero state income tax, creating massive savings for companies and employees fleeing California's 13.3% top rate. Austin's City Council approved generous tax packages, competing with other metros to land corporate prizes. The Greater Austin Chamber of Commerce marketed the region aggressively, selling quality of life alongside business advantages. These strategies succeeded beyond anyone's projections, creating consequences policymakers claimed they could never have foreseen. South by Southwest crystallized Austin's metamorphosis from cultural celebration to corporate showcase. The festival launched in 1987 as a gathering for unsigned bands and independent films, embodying Austin's scrappy creative spirit. By 2019, SXSW had mutated into a 10-day technology conference, attracting over 400,000 attendees and generating $156 million in economic impact. Venture capitalists prowled hotel lobbies, hunting unicorn startups, while tech giants erected elaborate promotional installations. The festival that once celebrated Austin's weirdness became an annual monument to what replaced it. Housing prices tracked each technology milestone with ruthless precision. The median home price rested at $183,000 in 2000, affordable for middle-class families. By 2010, it reached $232,000, concerning but manageable. The pandemic boom obliterated all restraint, pushing median prices to $620,000 by 2024. Each tech announcement, each corporate relocation, each venture funding round translated directly into housing costs that pushed further beyond local wage scales. The data reveals a city systematically redesigned for a different population. Austin traded its slacker paradise reputation for tech titan status, sacrificing affordability on the altar of economic development. The transformation succeeded spectacularly by conventional metrics: job growth, corporate relocations, venture capital investment. Yet these metrics ignored the human cost of remaking a city for people who earned their money elsewhere. California's tech workers discovered Austin like conquistadors finding El Dorado, except the gold was affordable housing and the natives were about to be displaced. The pandemic transformed a steady migration into a stampede as remote work policies shattered the geographic chains binding employees to Silicon Valley. Between 2020 and 2023, an estimated 300,000 Californians relocated to Texas, with Austin claiming the lion's share of these economic refugees. These arrivals brought Silicon Valley salaries to a market calibrated for Texas wages, creating an economic collision of devastating proportions. The salary arbitrage mathematics proved irresistible to coastal transplants. A software engineer earning $200,000 in San Francisco could maintain an equivalent lifestyle in Austin on $140,000, according to cost of living calculators. Yet companies rarely reduced compensation for remote workers, especially those with specialized skills. Engineers, product managers, and designers arrived with full Bay Area salaries intact. A two-bedroom apartment costing $4,000 monthly in San Francisco seemed like a bargain at $2,500 in Austin. For locals earning $60,000 to $80,000, these new neighbors might as well have arrived from another planet. Venture capital followed its diaspora with predictable consequences. Austin startups raised over $5 billion in 2021. Nearly doubling the previous year's total and establishing the city as a legitimate funding hub. California-based firms like Andreessen Horowitz and Sequoia Capital established Austin offices to chase deals and support portfolio companies. The influx transformed downtown from a weekend entertainment district into a forest of co-working spaces, accelerators, and venture offices. Each new fund announcement pushed commercial rents higher, displacing long-time businesses that served the local community for decades. Cash became king in Austin's warped real estate market. 42% of home sales in 2023 involved all-cash transactions, compared to 25% nationally. This wasn't grandmother's retirement money, it was tech stock liquidations and cryptocurrency profits seeking physical assets. Investment firms entered the fray aggressively, with companies like Invitation Homes and American Homes for rent acquiring thousands of single-family properties. These institutional buyers could outbid families by $50,000 to $100,000, treating homes as yield-generating assets rather than shelter. Entire neighborhoods transformed into corporate-owned rental portfolios. The geography of displacement followed money's preferred neighborhoods. California buyers concentrated in central Austin's most desirable areas: Travis Heights, Baldwin Creek, Zilker, and especially East Austin. These neighborhoods offered the walkability, character, and proximity to downtown that transplants valued. Median prices in these areas doubled between 2019 and 2024. Zip code 78704 in East Austin watched its median home value surge from $390,000 to $750,000. 78703 experienced similar appreciation, pushing out families who had lived there for generations. Remote work policies at major technology companies institutionalized Austin's transformation. Google announced permanent remote options in May 2021, unleashing thousands of employees to relocate while keeping their compensation. Facebook, Apple, Twitter, and Microsoft followed with similar policies. Amazon expanded remote work significantly. Austin emerged as the top destination for these newly mobile workers who brought purchasing power that obliterated local wage scales. A Google engineer keeping their $300,000 total compensation could buy more house in Austin than most locals could dream of renting. Property tax explosions delivered the final blow to longtime residents. Texas compensates for lacking state income tax through property taxes that reset annually based on appraised values. The system seemed fair when appreciation was gradual, but pandemic-era price explosions created devastating tax bills. Families who bought homes for $200,000 suddenly faced taxes on $700,000 valuations. Annual tax bills jumped from $3,000 to $15,000 or more, increases that fixed-income retirees and working families couldn't absorb. The system designed to fund schools and services became an eviction mechanism, forcing sales to cash buyers who celebrated the same appreciation that destroyed their neighbors. This California gold rush created two distinct economies, sharing one geography, setting the stage for a mathematical reckoning that would determine who could remain in the new Austin. The arithmetic of survival in Austin reduces to brutal simplicity. Teachers earning $53,000 face apartments demanding $24,000 annually, consuming 45% of gross income. Between 2012 and 2024, Austin lost approximately 12,000 renters, earning less than $25,000 annually. Families and individuals who once formed the backbone of the service economy. They were economically expelled through the cold logic of supply, demand, and the impossibility of competing with tech salaries. Austin Independent School District enrollment tells the displacement story through empty classrooms and shuttered buildings. 12,000 students have disappeared since 2017, forcing the closure of 13 schools across the district. Rosedale, Sanchez Brook, and Metz Elementaries closed their doors forever. Mendez Middle School, which served East Austin families for generations, joined the casualty list. Each closure represents hundreds of families who calculated that raising children in Austin had become mathematically impossible. Teachers face their own crisis of arithmetic, starting salaries of $53,000 against median rents that would consume nearly half their take-home pay. The staffing crisis extends across every essential service that makes urban life possible. Fire departments operate with skeleton crews as firefighters flee to suburbs where their salaries stretch further. Positions remain vacant for months while existing staff work mandatory overtime to maintain minimum coverage. Austin Fire Department reports persistent shortages, with firefighters often working 24-hour shifts, followed by mandatory holdovers. Hospitals face similar challenges with nursing staff, particularly those earning $60,000 to $70,000 annually, solid middle-class wages that no longer support middle-class life in Austin. Commute patterns reveal the geographic scope of this economic diaspora. Essential workers now travel from Bastrop, Lockhart, San Marcos, and Kyle, adding 2 to 3 hours daily to their work obligations. Round Rock and Pflugerville have absorbed thousands of displaced Austin families, transforming from quiet suburbs into refugee destinations for the economically expelled. The morning traffic on Interstate 35 tells the story, a river of headlights flowing toward Austin from communities 30, 40, 50 miles away. Each mile represents lost time with family, increased vehicle expenses, and the exhaustion of maintaining urban employment while living in exile. The surrounding communities struggle with their own transformations as Austin's displacement ripples outward. Florence in Williamson County experienced a 47.7% rise in median home prices, jumping from $540,000 to $798,000. Smithville in Bastrop County saw 34.2% increases to $526,000. Georgetown, Hutto, and Leander face infrastructure strain as thousands of new residents overwhelm schools, roads, and services designed for smaller populations. The escape routes themselves are closing as Austin's affordability crisis metastasizes throughout central Texas. Travis County has become the slowest growing part of the metro area at just 1.2% annually. The urban core effectively stopped accommodating population growth, despite remaining the region's primary employment center. This geographic mismatch between jobs and housing creates a daily migration pattern reminiscent of industrial-era company towns, except workers commute across counties rather than walking across mill yards. Projections through 2030 paint an increasingly stark picture. The Austin metro area expects 391,000 new residents, growing at 2.4% annually. Yet Austin's 2017 Strategic Housing Blueprint, calling for 135,000 additional units, remains a distant goal. The city managed to permit just under 10,000 units annually, far short of demand. Recent zoning reforms allowing 3 units on single-family lots face fierce neighborhood opposition and implementation challenges that will limit their impact for years. The multifamily construction boom that added 32,000 rental units in 2024 focused exclusively on luxury amenities. New buildings advertise rooftop pools, yoga studios, and concierge services while pricing out the teachers, nurses, and firefighters who once lived in Austin's neighborhoods. These gleaming towers cater to remote workers earning coastal salaries, creating vertical monuments to economic segregation. Supply increases have moderated rents at the high end while doing nothing for workers earning less than $70,000 annually. Austin measures its success through venture capital statistics and corporate relocations, while teachers grade papers in cars they sleep in. The city celebrates each new tech company while losing the families who coached Little League and staffed neighborhood schools. This transformation from accessible city to exclusive enclave happened through thousands of policy decisions that prioritized growth over sustainability, revenue over community. Austin will complete its metamorphosis into a playground for the wealthy, surrounded by commuter towns, housing the workers who service an increasingly hollow prosperity. And now, we'd like to see you in the comments. Are you a native of Texas or have lived there before? And if so, do you agree with this video? We look forward to hearing from you below, and thanks for joining us for another episode.